What's going on, guys? Aarava here. Welcome back to a brand new video today, and as you can see by the title and on screen right now clearly, it is a very awesome video today. I'm so excited to be able to do this video because Motorsport Manager is coming to the PC. Now, Motorsport Manager, as you guys know, has been on the channel for a while now. We've been doing it on the iOS platform. It's also on Android. It's a mobile game at the moment, but a PC version, a fully fledged PC version, is coming this September 2016, and I cannot wait for it. And the stuff that we can see today, that I'm going to show you guys today, is absolutely epic. I need to say a huge thank you to the guys over at Motorsport Manager and Sega for giving me a huge little kind of press kit of awesome details for this game, including some really nice high-res screenshots and some awesome footage of the actual game, which I'll be showing to you guys in a different video. So if you're new around here, you want to see more stuff on Motorsport Manager PC, then get subscribed. Also, if you're interested about Motorsport Manager, I do an ongoing series right now on the iOS version, so get subscribed for that as well. But anyway, let's get straight into it. First off, we're going to be looking at some screenshots from the actual game trailer itself. There'll be a link in the description to the trailer if you want to go check it out, but that's what's been playing on right now as I've been talking for the intro. But we're going to look at the screenshots from the trailer first, and then some other very awesome screenshots that Sega have given me that are high-res and show different parts of the game that are not in the trailer. So you're going to get some exclusive stuff here. It's very cool, trust me. But let's get straight to the trailer stuff first. So straight away, the first big thing we can see in the trailer is this screen, which is kind of like your main garage area, almost a factory area. You can see the car, which is looking very cool. 3D car this time, obviously. In Motorsport Manager on mobile, it was just a dot. You just saw kind of a sort of 3D car, almost sort of a 3D car on the intro screen, and then you just saw a dot going around the track. You never got a sense of what your car actually truly looked like, but there is your car there, looking pretty swanky. You know, lovely little detail on the front wing. You can see the side pods have got some nice aero elements. Obviously, it's sort of modeled after Formula 1, but they've also gone with their own route. They've said in the press release that they tried to go for a very realistic feeling sort of car in terms of the looks. They didn't want to just slap on something that wasn't, wasn't going to add something aerodynamically. So they talked to real drivers. They talked to real people in the industry about, how the car would generally look if they were designing kind of your kind of mock-up sort of generic F1 car. And what they've come up with looks absolutely stunning right now. Hopefully on screen right now you'll see some high-res shots of the actual car from the website. It looks awesome. It looks really awesome. I actually wish the real F1 cars looked like this. They actually look a little bit better than the real ones in real life because they don't have like a stubby nose or anything like that. They look very awesome. But anyway, getting back to the first menu, you can see here we've got a lot more stuff going on. Obviously, throughout this entire video, what you'll see is a lot more depth, a lot more, obviously, detail on this PC version because they're not sort of hampered with just a tiny little iPhone screen or any sort of Android device screen. It's an entire PC screen, and they've really used it to the fullest. So you've got budget there, which is a lovely 6666 across. You've got Driver Championship, weather there, and then the next race is Sochi, which brings us onto the tracks. There are going to be 16 different circuits in this game, and they're going to be going to different places around the world. So they're not emulating real-life circuits. That's a key thing here. They're building up from scratch unique circuits they've created themselves. They're actually going to make 3D-looking circuits. So hopefully, as you saw on the trailer, as I played it at the beginning of the video, you would have seen some nice little kind of teaser moments of the actual cars going around the circuit. You'll be able to see the cars in 3D go around the circuit, and they're brand new, unique circuits that the game developers have made from scratch. They look really awesome. We'll have a look at some more screenshots later on. But yeah, 16 circuits to go around. Obviously, in the iOS game, there are a lot more tracks than 16, but obviously in the iOS game, all they had to do was really make like a line of a circuit and then dots going around it, whereas this is a fully fledged kind of 3D circuit with grandstands, assets like trees, stadiums, whatnot, all around it. So 16 seems like a really good amount. Obviously, it's like a real season almost. You have like a 19 race calendar, so a 16 race calendar, and obviously you'll keep on doing seasons and seasons. So moving on to car stats. Now, obviously, this is something they've really gone a bit more into. In the mobile game, there are only a few things you could adjust, which was aerodynamics, design, and manufacturing. Something you guys have seen plenty of times in my series while we played the game on mobile, that I've maxed out manufacturing. Aerodynamics is pretty much maxed out, and generally, there was a little bit, it was quite limited in terms of what you can improve upon. But now they've gone a bit in depth. They've split everything up, so now you've got going from left to right, you've got engines, gearbox, you've got braking, front wing, suspension or dampers, and rear wing. So lots of different areas you can improve on the car. Supply is there blanked out, but obviously there would be something like, your actual the actual company name of the suppliers you've got. So maybe you can get some more premium suppliers if you work your way up the ranks. You improve your team. team, improve the kind of status of your team and the marketing of your team. You got chassis makeup, so you got tire wear, tire heating, fuel efficiency, and improvability, all in a star rating. So you got 1 star there for tire wear, 1 star for tire heating, and then 4 for fuel efficiency and 5 for improvability. So nice little way to kind of tell you where you need to maybe make up, points on your car in terms of, let's say your car's really fast, but the tire wear is really high. Like, Mercedes back in 2013, you need to really work on the tyre wear. So it gives you more of a gauge of where you need to improve. You got on the bottom there, design parts, fit parts, and improve parts. So design parts, you can sort of improve parts of your car that you've got to improve the performance rating. Fit parts, you can kind of choose what you want to be fitted onto either car. So that kind of hints at that you could do kind of a split strategy and kind of give someone a preference. So you could create like a number 1 and number 2 driver sort of dynamic with like Alonso and Massa back in the Ferrari days, and kind of give the Alonso figure the better parts first to see how they fare, and then improve parts, designing and kind of working on your R&D basically on your car. And finally, on the bottom of this, very nice little tab here. So you got home, which will obviously just be the main menu player, so you can look at maybe your stats, mail, so obviously you'll get sponsor mail and stuff like that. On the iOS game, the mail wasn't too amazing. Like, I never really look at it too much, so here's hoping that the mail is utilized a bit more in terms of your sponsors talking through there. Maybe you get some actual interesting details in the mail. You got your car, obviously, which we're on the tab right now. HQ, which I'm hoping that's probably the same sort of thing in the mobile game, where you can upgrade your headquarters so you can actually work on it, which is a really tasty thing that I'll get onto later in the video. I've got some awesome screenshots of those. You got drivers, teams, staff, scouting, which returns from the mobile iOS game, but hopefully they've kind of improved upon it and kind of gone a bit more in depth. Finances, which is quite a big part of it, obviously. You don't want to go bankrupt in the business. Sponsors, standings, and calendar, and then continue. So the first screenshot, really awesome, a lot of details, and you can clearly see straight away a lot more layers to the game. As we move on to the next page, you can see an awesome filled page for your driver, and straight away, so many more numbers and stats to look at, and really, really awesome to see. So you got this driver, Enholtz, German, ability 4-star out of 5, and you can see that their contract expires in 2016, and that they've got break contracts and bonus prizes for if they do well. So they've got a break contract of 6 million. So if we want to break the contract, we have to pay 6 million, or if another team wants to get our driver, they have to pay us 6 million. So that's awesome to see that you can break contracts like that. A lot like FIFA games, where you want to buy a player that's already signed, for long term, so you need to break their contract and pay a little bit extra premium. Qualifying bonus and race bonus, great to see, because in the past on the mobile game, you as a team got bonuses, but the driver, you never gave your own driver bonuses. So obviously, if you want to motivate drivers, if you've got a number 1 driver, you want to say, good job, you can give them a nice bonus on the qualifying and the race. I'm sure that's probably something that gets negotiated in the contract talks when you sign them. And then you've got down there morale and poachability, which is exactly what I just mentioned. Poachability, the ability that people are going to come and nick your driver. This person's got a high one, so people are going to be on the lookout for Enholtz, because she's quite a good driver, 4 out of 5 stars, so people are going to maybe sniffing around. They'll have to pay the 6 million premium to get them, but obviously we've got 1.666 up there on the top. These guys are the devs, love the numbers 6666, but we've got 1.6 million there. But obviously, if we sold this driver and let her go for 6 million, we'd have 7 million in the bank, get her like a cheaper driver, maybe improve our car. So you got that kind of flexibility of how do you play things, and morale, which is obviously a huge thing, not really a factor in the game too much. I mean, we had dilemmas in the iOS game where drivers would say, maybe, I want a better contract, or, maybe I'm not feeling the sponsor you've chosen. So this is probably expanded a little bit more. We've actually got a bar that probably fills up from red to green or something like that. So we have to keep the drivers happy constantly. Moving on to driver stats, which have been really improved upon. There are only 5 stats in the iOS game, so now they've improved upon it and gone to 9, which go from braking, cornering, smoothness, overtaking. I won't read the rest. Pretty much your bog standard things you would expect to be in there, and you can train them, hopefully, throughout the season. They'll get better. Current form as well, which is always good to kind of see how they're doing previously. And confidence, which is quite interesting. High confidence in the Madrid Grand Prix. So if you have a good driver, maybe he's a little bit less confident at circuit, so he might not perform as as much. So that's another factor to look into it. So straight away, I can already sense that I'm going to be very bad at this game. It's gonna take a lot of work. Like, it looks like there's so many variables to take care of to try and kind of keep everything stable and in check with your driver, with your team. So career, you got your stats and your average form there. Marketability, that's a big one. I sort of mentioned that already with the sponsors, but if your team is more marketable, or if the driver is more marketable, they can maybe get more sponsors. Obviously, in real life, we've seen drivers like Alonso and Button do kind of really funny kind of campaigns for Mobile 1. You got Hamilton on the page of like fashion magazines and stuff like that. So if your driver is marketable, he'll be good for sponsors, and that's only good for your team and he or she. Driving as well, you got understeer and oversteer. So your driver could be more tailored to understeer or oversteer. Another big thing for drivers, obviously, we've seen like, drivers like Jenson Button probably lean more towards understeer. You've got drivers like Hamilton that maybe prefer a bit more oversteer, like to kind of control the car as it kicks out and stuff like that. So that's something you're going to have to focus on for your driver now on the PC version. And then championship form, and then one interesting thing, relationships with your number 2 driver. We see tolerates. So I'm going to be interested to see if that can go to like hates or like loves. Like, it's going to be very, very interesting to see if your number 2 driver starts to despise you and the team because you're favoring the number 1 driver, and maybe you have to sell them on. Maybe they kind of leave and just quit, or maybe just creates a very hostile environment so they don't perform as well. Moving on to the next screenshot, we've got position trackers. So now this is a big thing from real-life Formula 1. A lot of sites like Pirelli, F1 Fanatic, to kind of name a few, do this sort of thing. After a race weekend, they'll show you position trackers and where people have moved up and down, so you can see clearly what strategy worked out the best, where they made the positions up on what lap and such like that. So it seems like this is ongoing during the race, because you've got on the top, you've got sponsor objective on target, and then you've got race conditions in terms of water on track and rubber on track, which is very interesting. But let's get back to position tracker. So you can see that it looks like it's while you're racing. So while you're racing, you can see other drivers, how they're faring, and you can maybe switch your strategy. Just be like, okay, this person's doing a 2-stop. Looks like for now it's working out for him. Let's switch on to that strategy and maybe kind of mirror what he's doing. So you can see there on this actual picture, you can see Chapman up there has gone down to what is 3rd place right now, and the other two red cars from like, what's like 4th and 5th have like jumped up to 1st and 2nd. So good strategy call for them. So you'll be able to see what's happening while you race and kind of adjust it as you go along. Let's go back to water on track and rubber on track. That's very interesting. Water on track obviously has been there in the iOS game, but now they've got kind of damp, hopefully dry and stuff like that. That's something I kind of struggled with in the iOS game. You can never tell really when you have to bring your cars in properly. And then rubber on track, which is new. So obviously real life circuits, they start off green and then they go and get rubbered in. So as the race is going on, it might get more and more grippy, and so the rubber on track will be high at the end. So it might be more worth to use the softer tires, let's say, perhaps at the end of the race. So that's another dynamic to add in. So many parameters to actually check. I am definitely going to be very, very bad at this game. There's just too many things to actually check that my mind won't be able to comprehend it. So that sort of ends the stuff from the trailer, and so now we're going to get onto the screenshots that Motorsport Manager and Sega have kindly sent to me, so thank you again to them. So, we've got a screenshot now of in-race right now. So you can see on the left and the right, you got 2 drivers. You can see the strategy, the pit, the conditions of their tyres, the sector times they're doing. So you can see Chapman there in the bottom left is going 2 purples there in the 1st and 2nd sector. And interestingly enough, you can also see fuel. So fuel is now a factor in this game. Fuel is in this game. You're going to have to watch out for fuel, something I'm probably going to be very, very bad at, but you can see tyre wear there and fuel. So that's another thing you have to really worry about. Hopefully maybe you can kind of underfuel your car maybe, or overfuel it, then tell them to push. So that's going to be another thing you can do with a strategy. And then obviously the most obvious thing, you can see the track in 3D. Being on PC now, we can have the track in PC, in 3D. No longer will we have to see dots on a screen, which, to be fair, is actually quite exciting if you watch my Motorsport Manager career mode on the iOS platform, but seeing it in 3D, seeing your actual cars out there, and seeing the circuit in kind of, with all the trees, the mountains, the kind of, buildings, the stadiums, everything, it just gives you that more immersive feeling. And definitely as a video content creator, it's going to make a lot better videos in terms of for you guys when I play this on the PC. But obviously for now, we'll have to deal with it being just dots on the screen, because this game, as I said at the beginning, is coming out September 2016. So quite some way away. I'm really actually quite annoyed about that release date, to be honest, because obviously I go back to university. in September, so I'm going to have to sacrifice my degree a little bit to play this game. So as we move on to the next view, you can now see a bit more detail of those car parameters you can change. So confirmation that it indeed was the front wing, suspension, engine, gearbox, rear wing, and brakes. So you can change all those and see the reliability and how much wear they've got. And you can also see that the setup opinion is there on the top by the driver's name. So now you have drivers who prefer different setups. So instead of going for what is definitely the fastest setup in the iOS game, now on the PC you'll have not the fastest setup out there. You have to tailor your setup to your driver, and the setup and the driver need to kind of work as one to get the fastest time out there on the track. So definitely a lot more realistic to real life. And then on the right, something I'm really happy to see, this sort of hexagon style thing that they used to have in FIFA career mode on like the consoles, and I believe they do still have it in Football Manager games that Sega also make, by the way. I forgot to mention that that this partnership with Sega is really awesome news, because Sega make Football Manager, which obviously if you know about if you're kind of in tune with the gaming universe and stuff like that, you'll know that Football Manager is a very, very popular simulation on the PC. It's a very addictive one. Anyone who likes those sort of games just scream about how addictive it is to play Football Manager and how good it is. So the fact that Sega are in conjunction with PlaySport making this game really says a lot about how good I think we can expect this game to be, and in terms of how, you know, good the future will be, because obviously then they'll put updates to it, hopefully, then maybe bring out yearly updates or something like that. It's going to be very, very cool to see this franchise grow a little bit. But anyway, let's get back to the hexagon. Awesome to see this sort of thing, because I loved it back in the day. Kind of brings back memories from my childhood when I used to play FIFA career mode on older games. They don't have it in recent FIFAs, but on older FIFAs you used to have this hexagon thing where you could basically see where your team was underperforming, and it's just an easy way to see where you're losing kind of places, where you're losing performance. You know, in football you'd be like striker, attacker, midfield, defense, goalkeeper. You could see where you were losing performance in your team, and here now you can see where the car is losing stuff. So you can see, oh, it's got less downforce, it's got less engine power if you're like a Red Bull style team, or oh, we've got really good aero, but you know, we've got really good engine power, but we're lacking on aero. So you can clearly see where it is, and at the same time, it's also for car 1 and 2. So yet again, you can split the strategy on the drivers and maybe cause a bit of a ruckus there in terms of who's got the better car in terms of between your number 1 and number 2 driver. So moving on, we've now got this kind of splash page before you get to the next race, which is at Belgium, it looks like. So you've got practice sessions, qualifying, and race. So practice sessions confirmed for Motorsport Manager PC. That's awesome to see that you'll get to be able to do practice sessions. Obviously, that's sort of where the green track will come in, the low rubber track. Obviously, when you're doing practice, the track sets at its greenest, so you'll be able to see that kind of track evolution, hopefully. You've got tyres available, soft, medium, inters, and wet. So nice that you can see the actual graphics now on the soft tyres, mediums, inters, and wets. You can see there on the top, sponsor selection for the specific race, perhaps, and then just the kind of generic kind of, you can see once finally, before you've done all the kind of setup and stuff like that, you can see finally how your drivers are feeling about the setup and everything like that, and then you can go on to the race. And then here we come to a very awesome page. Look at this. Look how awesome this looks. You can build your head queue. Look at it. And so now we come to a very exciting page that I'm really interested in. HQ development. Look at the detail. Look at the awesome stuff you can do. You can build a design center, build up your factory, telemetry center, test track, wind tunnel, simulator, brake research facility, ride handling development. What? This is so awesome to see. You can actually build different parts of your HQ. If you want to build a wind tunnel, yeah, sure, you'll build a wind tunnel. If you want to be like a Sauber team, we'll fuck the wind tunnel and we'll build something else. This is so awesome to see that you can actually build it in detail, because obviously on the mobile HQ you sort of got levels of tiering for your aerodynamics, manufacturing, design of your HQ, but now so much more detail, going into every bit of the actual HQ and looking at every part. It looks all so awesome, and you could just spend so much time just faffing around with this stuff and not even get to the racing. And obviously, being on a budget, you know, obviously you can see right now the wind tunnel is going to cost 6 million, 6.6 million actually. So these things aren't going to be cheap, so you really have to actually budget your team. So to start off with, you really will have to operate like a Sauber or a Manor and not have many facilities for your team. But then obviously, as you get into kind of the Red Bull stages of finance, you can just lop on everything and kind of really go for it. Moving on to the next screen, this is sort of similar to the first one we saw from the trailer, but this time now you can see the suppliers there. So this is what I'm talking about. You can see different manufacturers for your engine, your ECU, your fuel, your materials, which is awesome to see. So you could have like higher brands offering you a higher engine. So just like Mercedes power units versus Renault, you could get a much better engine supplier, but maybe have a bit of a bad car in terms of aero. That could really balance things out. And this is just the same sort of screen, but you can now see the car on track. They've kind of highlighted in turquoise where the parts you're looking at are, the parts are improving, and it's awesome to see. And also, just look at that, like some nice kind of wet stuff on the track. So maybe this is like, you know, on the race weekend, you can look at during the kind of practice session, maybe you can look at an overview of your car and it kind of put it on track for you. So yeah, guys, that's been my little analysis of the trailer and also some awesome screenshots of more. So yeah, guys, that's been my analysis of the trailer and some awesome screenshots of the game. Thanks again to the guys at Sega for providing me these awesome exclusive screenshots that you won't find in many other places apart from other journalist sites. So guys, if you're new around here, then do subscribe for more Motorsport Manager news. I will be putting out another video later today, maybe, about the gameplay, because the guys have sent me a little pre-alpha footage of the game, which is really awesome, and I'll get into that later. So guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did find it informative, smash that like button. Are you looking forward to this game? Will you pick it up in September when it comes out? Let me know in the comments below. But it's all looking very, very tasty indeed. I'm so excited to see this franchise grow. You know, I talked to the founder of Motorsport Manager a really long while back when the game was in beta, and he asked me to play it. I played it for him a little bit. I kind of gave some suggestions, and then it sort of went away. I didn't really think about it too much. Then the game came out. I played it for a little bit, but then I got back into it, obviously, recently, a few months ago, and now it's really awesome to see that it's actually growing into something bigger, because as much as I like the game on iOS, I think the PC version will bring just so much more detail, obviously, as you can clearly see. And I think it will just take it to that next level that it really needed to get to. So really, really pumped to kind of see more content on it. And obviously, I can't wait till September to make videos on it. It's going to be awesome to see, to try and grow the team and kind of have you guys watch that as well. So guys, I look forward to that, all that good stuff. Hopefully, you'll see another video from me, probably either today or tomorrow, on that footage of the game. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you guys next time.